Alright, I wanted to make a video. I just got my second alt build approved by Rebrickable, and so I wanted to go do a video talking about what I did this time. I learned a lot of mistakes that I did with my last design, or just the process and making the design digitally and making the instructions and stuff, and I'm really happy with this one. So this one was a set that I've kind of just had lying around. To me, it was not really a good display set or play set. It's the Mandalorian Forge. I think it's 75319. Let me see. 75319. I just was never a huge fan of it. In terms of displaying, I think the character's really cool. It comes with a lot of cool pieces. But I want to do something different. I've actually done a few other Rebrickable alt builds of it. Was just never really happy with anything. So I decided to, get creative, sit down and just play around with it for a few days, and I eventually settled on this, which I thought was very cool. So I basically turned into a X-34 or Landspeeder that Luke drives on Tatooine. It's just a Mandalorian version. I think the profile turned out really nice. I think, I don't know the best way to show it. I think that is very similar shaping to the engines on either side, to this big top engine up top, and then built out the back a little bit for a little more bulkiness and size to it. But I think that looks very good. Personally, with, again, limiting myself to the pieces in the set and what to do. Obviously, the printed pieces, you have two Mandalorian printed boxes on the side. I think this is a fun print, right? That was the Ring of the Forge. These are actually, right, storage crates. You can even put some gear in there. So, a lot of cool playability. It's got a little, this might be hard to show in the light, but I put little clips on either side. It sits one minifigure here in the middle. Let me grab a Mandalorian. Sits one guy in the middle. The only caveat I ran into space-wise that was a bit of an issue was that it won't fit the Mandalorian with their jetpack. So really just treat it like it's Mando's before he got his jetpack. That's what it looks like with him in it. I think it's very cool. Very interesting way to figure out how to make these side engines, right? There's a few weird Technic pieces in the set, and trying to connect these side pieces, see they rotate, they're on like a single point hinge. Figuring that out was hard. It's why I ended up, even like the back half of these are brick built out with some of these weird window pieces and stuff. I can take it off. Just to give it that angle, and then this angled piece here is sort of an aggressive stance, so it sort of has a swooping back feature going back. And yeah, and then I think all the blue flame pieces it came with were really cool. It sort of really showed that the engines are going off. This large back structure here is actually the two large crates, so you can fit stuff back there if you want to, but I think it just adds a bit of nice engine bulk to the back. The top post was also a bit of a challenge trying to make, because again, it doesn't have many Technic pieces. But I think brick building this up and getting some sort of cylindrical rail back was good. This is actually the extra Mandalorian helmet that it comes with. So that point to the front is an extra Mando helmet. Cool design choice. Really screams Mandalorian. Again, this design up here uses the Beskar plates. So I'm very happy with it. Again, that was just sitting there fiddling around for a long time, trying to figure out what I could build with it. I built a couple very weird, janky looking speeder ship things for a while, until I sort of started piecing together that front area with the rounded edge to it, and I thought, oh wow, that looks just like the Landspeeder. Let's try and build that. Sometimes having a reference image versus trying to just come up with a straight idea off the top of the head is a lot easier. So that ended up being really good because I could frame it off of, I looked up, photos of the X34, and I was, trying to figure out what would look similar to it, and that apparently is really helpful for me creative-wise. So let me show this. So this is Bricklink Studio. It is, once I built the set in person, I sort of took it apart in a few little chunks. And so what you do is you file import, and you can import a Lego set. So I imported the Mandalorian Forge set, and then it adds all the pieces over here from the set. So you're only working with what you got. And right, you can grab a piece and bring it out and move it all around and flip it around. So I did that, and I was just sort of pulling out apart the set, building it layer by layer. Really handy to be able to spin it around and put it down. And when I was doing all this little stuff up here, it was good to be able to move pieces around really quickly and figure out what works well. And so very, very happy learning this program a lot more, because doing this is how you generate the instructions page and a parts list for when you upload it to Rebrickable. Yeah, this is really easy. Again, I am not a computer person. You can probably tell from these videos, like I'm not editing these videos. As simple as it can be, that's what I like. So that's why I like importing the sets. It gives me all the pieces and all the right colors and everything that they're doing. And then I just gotta sort of drag and click in place until I'm happy with what I see. So once I built all this, again, you can see I put like this little divider piece here, so you can store as weapon rack or put the thermal detonators in there. And the only thing it doesn't include is the stickers on some of these pieces, right? So the stickers that you saw on this aren't on here, but this is how it looks like without stickers. So if you want to do no stickers, and then these slopes in here for the cockpit are actually like printed, or stickers maybe, like control panels. So it doesn't show that here, but these actually look like control panels inside the cockpit. But yeah, I'm big on symmetry when I build. So this is really symmetrical with some fun, weird little styles and funky pieces. But it sits on these two big sleds here, and this back sled, so it does sit ever so slightly off the ground there. But yeah, very, very happy with how this build turned out. You can see this Mandalorian helmet much better. And so once I'm done here, right, you go into the instructions page. This took me a really long time to figure out. I had to watch some videos on, but once I sat here for 10 or 20 minutes and learned these, this went way quicker. So it'll auto-generate instructions, but they're sometimes really weird and really out of order, and they don't make any sense. So I learned how to separate this into submodels, right? So this is the front base, and this is the rear base that I built, and then the rear thruster and the top thruster. So I separated it out into sections, which is honestly as easy as dragging like that and highlighting all the pieces, or holding control and just clicking through all the individual pieces you want. It's really, really easy. And then when you go into, so to build this front base, then you just use steps, and now it'll break it down into building different steps. And then from here, all you got to do is either drag a piece over to a step to add to it, or bump up and down. Makes a lot of sense. Watch a couple YouTube videos on it. But going through all of this was really good. Yeah. So getting those instructions all made, and then the other part I was learning to do is this called parent design, or page design, sorry, which is how the instructions actually look for people who download them on Rebrickable. So going through here, and you don't have to do too much, but like you can drag these around so it shows different stuff, or zoom in, or when you click this, you can change the step view. And so I could rotate how this looks, and see, once you rotate it, it rotates every other piece in that set. So you rotate it, you're building this front part, then the next part, you're going to build the back, you go to that step, you rotate it so it's a better view. Simple as that. So I found this to be pretty intuitive. And yeah, it was very cool to see sort of like it auto generates these really nice Lego looking instructions for you. Again, did not take very long to figure out, and it goes through, and then it'll show the new subassembly, and then when you build the rear base, this is all done. It clips onto the back of this, and now you can sort of see the model coming together. And so I did all of this all the way down, 63 pages of instructions, which is kind of crazy to think about, considering it's just me designing it. But I feel pretty good about it. It's really sturdy. It's really substantial. And then I was figuring out how to do some of these, add these extra pieces on later, because it would have you like start with this block and then build this frame around it. It just made no sense. So dragging some of these are sort of like decoration pieces here to the end. All of this stuff is good to do at the end, but it's good to learn how to do all that. And so this is what the page looks like on Rebrickable that I posted. I'll put a little link down in the description if you want to check it out. Again, all my stuff's free. Not trying to make any money. But that app also lets you, or Bricklink Studio lets you render these images. So you just frame it the way you want to frame it and click render, and it'll generate the image, and you save it and you upload it when you upload your mock. Really easy to do, and I think it looks like really nice photos. I'm obviously not going to sit here and take nice photos of these builds, so I appreciate that they do this element for me. Type a little description of what I like. I link it to, it's an alt build of this set, and then you can see, so this got approved, I think this morning. 9 people have liked it, and a couple people have followed me because of it. So very cool. Lots of extra pieces are available with this set when you build it, so plenty of extra stuff to tinker around with, build an extra little side build if you want, or just use them for other mocks that you aren't going to limit yourself to a set to. So anyways, I was really happy about that. And yeah, that is my alt build of the Mandalorian Forge into a Landspeeder, and I'm very happy with it, so go check it out if you want to give it a shot. Thank you.